streaming already anyways, so fuck it, everybody. Welcome to the poetry room. I will be your host for tonight. My name is Masaki. If you want to be responsible and leave your mic off, please do. We like to get loud and we love to have interaction. So if you want to clap, you want to snap during somebody's poem, please do. If you are wanting to hear another line back, please just shout out rewind. Okay. If y'all want to unmute yourself, if you feel more comfortable with that, muting yourself, that's cool too, but it's not going to be nearly as fun, just to let you all know. This is the poetry room and anything goes, because I don't know how to control myself and I like to talk shit. So you can say whatever you like on here. And if people don't like you because of what you said, you got to take ownership for that. So growing up, it was always, I always had to, like, in a sense, like, fight for my identity, and that's why I feel like sometimes I am very protective of the poetry room, because I feel like people are always trying to take my shit, right? Whether it be people making fun of you for your name or your culture. I mean, like, or like the shit that you eat. Like, I didn't know how to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich when I first came here, and you were asking me how did I not know how to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. When I was a kid, I came here when I was like 3 or 4 or 5. I don't remember. And the first time I saw a PB&J sandwich, it came with a cheese stick. And if you know how Asians eat, it's like we have like a dish in the middle and we just take from the middle and put it onto our bowl. So I thought you're supposed to put the cheese stick in the peanut butter and jelly and eat it. And everybody was like, ugh, gross. But I didn't know what I was doing wrong, so I kept on doing it. They're like, why are they making fun of me? It was because I was putting the cheese stick into the peanut butter and jelly. And they were like, oh, he's so gross. In this country, I've been called a dirty animal. Fenced in from the way you can tell I am from a lower middle class without enough money for immunity, caged in a second floor, 3-bedroom apartment, taught to walk gently so no one would complain, ignore the people upstairs jumping on Sunday night football. Everything around me was bleach clean white with impossible standards, a house with stairs, expensive smile with a dental plan, a perpetual foreigner, an easy target for the butcher. My mama thought my name way too much and too big in size, so it was never anglicized. She told me my name was my address. When I am asked where I am from, it sounds like a cutting board telling me this is not my home. Is it the way that I look? For the saw to split me open to remind me that I am dislocated? School was always a slaughterhouse. First period gym class always smelled rancid with an odor of death. Kids trying to turn my name into a roast, a reflection of their parents, looking to sear my identity. The sinew of my culture always barely hanging on to my bones. They asked me for an easier name to give them than the one my mama gave me, beaten down for the name I kept, a Japanese import, a hate crime, the way Vincent Chin was taken. I watch others who have happily skinned themselves, taking new names and religion, forgotten gods for a white Jesus, as the butcher hangs them on the rack for all the customers to see. The perfect model minority, how beautiful we looked hung upside down as our bloodline drains into the sink in hopes to be seen as American. This was the meaning of an easier and happier life. This would give you more opportunities to be packaged and cut up for the meat display. But I would rather stay in the apartment standing with the spine not deboned. My name is the only trace of remembrance I have of my father left in this world.
Oh, yeah? Like a real tattoo?
When I go to the deli shop, I take a ticket with a number on it. I put in my order as a clerk asks me my name. He says he apologizes for butchering my name. His tongue braces the mispronunciation, asks me to spell it, repeats my 3-syllable name back to me, Masaki, with all the rich flavor and tenderness. 这个有妈妈的味道. This one has mother's taste. The culture, the homage to my mother, the recognition of my lived experience, the umami savory of this moment. I call this being grateful. I call this learning to forgive. All the recess bullies who grow up to be loser dive bar tough guys. I call this moment mine. I call this moment progress. Thanks everybody. Anyways, whoever that motherfucker is, you need to turn off your mic. And if Cody, if you do hear other people on that, just make sure that like you mute them or just boot them. Like I don't care if you boot a motherfucker out, to be honest with you. Anyways, who is up next? We have an amazing show today. I am gonna put if you want to donate to the poetry room, you can. Don't feel like you need to. Anything that is taken will be actually used to turn it into a nonprofit so we can have more dope shows. Like the work that we already do in the community, like we're going to continue to do that regardless, but we want to turn it into a nonprofit because we want to have more dope features like Phil come by and in person sometimes, maybe, who knows, right? Next up, super dope poet, and we have to congratulate this person because they are coming out with a book, out with Right Bloody Publishing, which has amazing poets like Sarah Kaye, Derek Brown, Anise, Andrea, Megan Falley, a good collective of people. And so is this next person. Let's get it up for Sheleen. You're in a good company there.
Thank you, Masaki. Thank you for having me here. Let's just hope I don't sneeze. All right, let's see. Going to pull this up here. Okay, so I'm going to read two poems. The first one is called Just Once. It was just a kiss, but it popped all the bulbs on the street. I didn't even know him. We were two strangers in a bar. I told him it was my birthday and he sang that stupid song. I studied his mouth like a foreign language. He studied mine too. Watched it spool, watched it purr velvet. I wanted to feel the hum of his blood on my lips, just once. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm married and I want it to be good, but I was never kissed like that. Like a defibrillator pressed to my lonely sex, like I want it to be sang that stupid song every year for the rest of my life. Like my mother tongue is that kiss in that bar with a man I will never see again, who will never know me, but whose mouth I will wish for when I blow my candles out.
Woo.
So that's the first one. The second one is The FedEx Man Always Knocks Twice. How many times have we been here, closing the door against the outside as if we are worthy game, a prized head to hang on a wall, glass eyes reflecting the face of the hunter. It's not your fault. Just last week, a woman was murdered in a park nearby. She was going for a run. She was running before running meant not dying. It's not your fault. Once you were crouched behind a bush till dark, shook from the guts out while a man slapped a pipe in his open palm, softly singing, "Here, kitty, kitty," over the crunch of his boots. When you were 13, the man working on your house was caught peering into the window of your second floor bedroom as you toweled yourself dry and looked for all of your vanishing underwear. Your brother, when he was still alive, still able to protect you, sat on the roof with a shotgun waiting for that same man to come back around because brothers know what men are capable of. Once you accepted a gift in exchange for rape. Once a man who offered you a ride home drove you to his house instead. Once you left your drink unattended, woke up in the backseat of a car full of sleeping girls and you could only save yourself. You have seen your own funeral so many times. Your throat has been clutched over and over by your own hands just to protect it from the real thing. Sweetheart, the man at the front door is just delivering a package. He is just conducting a survey. You know so many good men.
Wow. Let's give it up for Sheleen. Please put in that pre-order for that book, which is gonna be amazing, obviously, because you just showcased that. And please let us know how we could reach out to you. That defibrillator line was bananas. That running that like when that running line. I love that. Thank you so much, Sheleen, for sharing that with us. Next person that we got from Grand Rapids, Michigan, holding that down for like the diatribe and all them. The Grand Rapids scenes is super dope. Let's give it up for Amanda Small.
Yes. Hi. Okay. I have some new shit.
New shit.
Therefore, neither named. I want to shoot holes through your ceiling and remind you what stars look like. You don't look up very often. My luck and you seem to have that in common, and I sing it like the 5 stairsteps did. Like my mom does on the real bad days that things are gonna get easier. But even 5 steps on flat ground seems like too much. The act of pulling myself out of bed, a suicide mission, and all this is to say that even still, I want to show you what heaven looks like. Heaven on earth, I mean, I want you to stay too. Both our feet planted in this world because I don't know if I'll know you in the next one. And if this place is where I get to keep you, then this place I'll stay. And maybe we can get a house, just the 2 of us, and shut the doors and draw the curtains and just stare out of the holes in our ceiling that I made for us. Because stargazing isn't about seeing all of the stars, but being able to appreciate the few that we can. Okay. It's weird that like even though this is all on Zoom, like you can still get like stage fright and like sweating. So, like I'm in my house by myself right now. Anyways. White man on the internet asks, if police brutality is such a big issue for your people, how many family members have you lost? And I wonder why, in order to validate my pain, the hurt has to be close enough to touch me, share my blood. Payne puts her hands on me daily. She's trying to toughen me up for a fight she knows is coming, but I've never had a stomach for violence. I want to tell him I've lost too much family to this country already. Can't name any cops, but I can name the robbers. America, the brutal. America, land stripped of her name. America lost her first language, so she decided to take ours too. America, jealous of anyone that gets to show their true colors. Her true colors are not red, white, and blue, just red. Blood, red, gunpowder, red, inflamed crosses in the front yard, reminding us we are not welcome. I have lost my true name to a country that thinks me nameless, actively tries to make me the last of my name. For all she cares, I am just an uncarved headstone passing day to day. Thank you.
Woo! Somebody got bodied today. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. And please, Amanda, if let us know where the people can reach out to you if they wish to, or if you want allow them to. If you want to put that in the chat, or if you want to plug anything.
Yeah, I'll do it in the chat. I can do that.
Cool. Thank you very much, Amanda. Next up, we have the runner-up of this year's Button Poetry Room contest, and I don't know how many contests you have won. This person is just winning all around and doing pretty cool stuff, and is a Everett graduate and Lansing native. So let's get it up for Charles Payne.
51-7. Yeah. Content warning, racialized violence and police brutality. If that's a trigger or something that bothers you intensely, you might want to mute me and come back on when I'm done. The family business is underwater, drowning in the blood of mothers, like being shot at my job, like being stabbed when I'm walking with a friend, like being watched by a doorman while I'm attacked by a stranger on the street, left for dead in front of their lectern, My last memory of a white man in uniform closing the glass doors. Before the birds and bees, my father tells me, one day pigs will sting. When they do, avert your eyes from their snouts. Watch their hooves. Remember, your words have power. A tongue may build or destroy. Black boys look blue on the cameras missing from the pigs' bodies. Everything goes unseen. Listen to what those pigs are snorting. Avoid the blue water in their eyes. Ignore the smell of rotting Black bodies. All lives do not matter. When a pig's tongue suggests you've shown your teeth, mouth agape and wide, ready for a feast. Remember your real estate value, boy. Don't fail this inspection, son. My second one.
Woo. Fuck.
I don't know if you understand me when I say Black Lives Matter. I say Black Lives Matter, you say that's hogwash. I mean, last year it was okay for me not to drive. Do you feel like you want to work from home forever? Forever, ever? I do. I'm worrying about driving. I'm worrying about getting stopped. I'm thinking about bloodied air fresheners. Last year, I forgot their names until my world turned Freddie Gray. Last year, I forgot about Tamir Rice. How could I forget a child? Cue all the ghosts from my past. Last night, I sat up and counted our dead. When I break down the word passion, I get pass or to give, I or myself, on or endlessly to another. I won't give my body away to a Dodge Challenger, hell-bent on running over protesters, won't give my sight away to roadblocks, shattering police car windows, eyes burning like tear gas. I won't give myself away to a Black woman whose body will be used as target practice as she rests in her home. Martyrs go extinct like panthers that are Black. I must ignore my darkness in the mirror, forget its ugly projection of coded language written to destroy looters like me. Is it because I have a face that's dark and smooth, with nostrils that snarl with so much attitude, a tongue too silver and slick for conservative speed, lips too wide for whiteness to kiss with any comfort, cheeks that blush red as cherry blossoms do during morning dew, eyes powerful and dark like two crystallized coals, with the Motor City mind that assembly lines every time a piston misfires and breaks another Black body, like fragile statues that look blue in the moonlight. No one will help me run underground from where the rickety slave ship brought me. I can't find a railroad where it is safe enough for me to jog. My life is a never-ending pursuit of giving myself away. Thank you.
Woo. I didn't see that one coming. Like you went all out on that one, Charles. Charles didn't have, there was no half stepping with that one. Thank you very much, Charles. I love the extended metaphor on the first one, especially, but the performance, I didn't, yo, we're doing virtual events. You just stepped it up. Super excited for that one. Thanks, Charles. If you could kind of just share the links of whatever you want to plug, that'd be awesome, and how people could reach out to you. That would be awesome. Next person we have to congratulate her. She just graduated college and about to embark on some cool stuff. Let's give it up for Olivia.
Thank you. Yes, fresh grad. All right, I figure I'll do sad poem first. That seems to be a good way to go. Leave the happy one for last, end on a good note. This poem is called My Father, the Wizard of. My dad texts me that he's moving across the country. I'm sitting in class and my professor is lamenting about how people always carry their home with them. It is like the Wizard of Oz, he says. You had what you wanted all along, but just didn't know where to look. I think about how the only thing I gained from the Wizard of Oz was a lifelong fear of flying monkeys, despite their innate non-existence, And I think that if I were Dorothy, I would miss Oz. I wonder about the home that my father carries. Mine is the tan house, blue shutters, robin's nest in the front tree, and yellow sunlit bedroom where I learned to ask why. The one I think part of my mother is still trapped under vilified character in a story she tried to rewrite, searching for something long out of her reach. It is the leaking cold apartment that my brother lived in blocks away. I ponder his courage, his heart, his brains, if he always wanted them, if he knew they were there all along. I consider where his musings have gone. I imagine them etched into the windowsill, finding the home he carried, searching for God. I wonder if home is leaving for my dad. If home is somewhere he has not yet found in all his 50-some years. I want him to carry our garden in Ohio. Ask him to live on my swing set, my brother's protection so fierce they hauled my arm clean from the socket. I could build him a home, my dad. It would be golf tees and bathroom pulp, pillows around every door frame. Thank you.
Woo.
Alrighty, we'll get a little happier. Something you should know about me. I scare easy. My own shadow, for example. Checking over shoulder once more, convinced my peripheral vision has betrayed me in a last-ditch effort to run me away from myself. The first thing I knew about you was that you were the cure to my chronically cold fingers and toes. As long as we were together, the heat your body trapped between us was enough to keep the color in me for days. Honey, falling in love with you felt like a new homecoming, marching band and all. Myself, the drum major, you, the winning team, giving me reason to play as loudly as I could, wearing my silliest hat, parading down the streets, delivering the news to bystanders who could not give less of a shit. You were not the first place I called home, but you've kept the lights on the longest, insulated the walls with dust, embered a living room fire into wings of golden finches, laying promises on their backs, our own unsuspecting messenger birds, testing the theory that love makes good writing die. On one of our first phone calls, you told me, high on painkillers, that the whole world felt like a fleece blanket or polished glass. It was the night you told me you didn't know what love was, but if you did, you'd be falling in it with me. If love makes good writing die, I want to hear your absolute worst, clearing out open mics with your long-winded 16-year-old-esque metaphors. Our friends remind us that we did not invent it, love, but I have to admit it kind of feels that way sometimes, the way our fairy tale goodbye led us to secret tunnels we did not yet know connected, creating our own Terabithia at a creek that felt like the most secret place in the world. Holding each other amongst stone and moss, the smell of mud and lake water cut from the same worn cloth, like the collar of your favorite sweater or the pages of your mother's photo albums. The way we came to the other tattered, exhausted from the too much life we had endured and clung on for dear life. Honey, something you should know about me, I scare easy. But my own shadow, for example, has just become another way for me to be closer to you if one of us falls behind. No longer the escape car for my own mind. You see, I have spent so much time high-speed chasing away from myself that I ran right into you, clashing cymbals and all, in my silliest hat. Thank you.
Oh, I love that one. I love this mush. I thank you, Olivia. That was great. Wasn't like I invented love, but it feels like it. Or Lindsay says, "You're not the first place I called home." I love that line too. Who doesn't love a mushy love poem? Thank you, Olivia. And please let people know how they could reach out to you, because I'm sure you just made a bunch of fans and mushy people. And up next, we are actually gonna have like a bit of an intermission and have Cameron from Curtainless talk about Curtainless Theater and the contest real quick. So yeah. Hey Cameron, how are you?
I'm all right. Thank you. Thank you for letting me interrupt. I'm going to be really quick, I promise. Like Masaki said, my name's Cameron Going. I am the co-artistic director of the Curtainless Theater. We are a relatively new local theater group in Lansing. Our mission is to use revitalized classical theater to spark action-focused dialogue about issues that we have in our community. We believe that classic stories have a foundational impact, both good and bad, in the development of societies and cultures, and that relationship is worth examining critically. So in service of this mission, and knowing how strong the poetry community is in Lansing, we've been running a poetry contest called What's Past is Prologue. The name comes from a line from The Tempest by William Shakespeare and speaks to the way that our past sets the context for our present. So we challenged poets to take a piece of poetry that was written before 1900 and to update it, to take the themes from the original work and translate them into modern contexts. I'm going to announce our winners, but before I do that, I want to thank everyone who entered. All of the entries were so thoughtful and innovative. And I also want to thank Masaki and the Poetry Room for partnering with us and for facilitating this announcement. So in our adult category, our winner is Clarity Levine, who submitted an incredibly powerful and personal examination of the famous "to be or not to be" speech from Act 3, Scene 1 of Shakespeare's Hamlet. It's incredible. In our youth category, we've actually chosen 2 winners. Aidan Meters submitted a modern take on Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven that sets the poem's premise within the experience of a teenager in the age of social media and COVID. And Esther Francois submitted a scene from Macbeth, which she translated and modernized into the Creole dialect from Sierra Leone that her mother speaks. All of these poems were incredible. We're going to be featuring them on our Facebook and Instagram feeds tomorrow. So make sure you come and see these new interpretations of classic poems. Check out these poets that are incredible. Thanks again to everyone who submitted, and congratulations to the winners. And thanks again for letting me interrupt your event tonight. Congratulations to everybody.
Thanks a lot, Cameron. Appreciate you. Eloquent motherfuckers. You all use big ass words and are eloquent and polite as hell. And I like that. I'm trying to learn that here someday. All right. We got somebody from Lansing, somebody very supportive of the Lansing scene as well. I appreciate this next person. Let's give it up for Amanda. Amanda Moria. We'll give it to Amanda. Amanda Moria, come on.
Yeah, but I'm totally in awe of Amanda Small. So right means nothing to me. So all right. I was trying to work on the theme of timeless. So here we go. Dear future generations, I write this letter from my corner of the universe, which just so happens to be on my apartment balcony. I write this letter time-stamped in the middle of a paradigm shift brought to you by the letters W, T, and F, completely clueless how my future will become your past and how my present gets past this mess. Spring has sprung on the first year of our pandemic, this epidemic that has marked our layer on the garbage heap with surgical mask added to McDonald's trash. Many of us have lost people we love. Too many have died separated from our families in the company of paid strangers caring for our passing. I'm one of the lucky ones. I've always tested negative at the end of the PCR stick from the nurses use in this twisted modern game of who's got your nose? Who's got your nose? They do, after they scrape out your sinus membranes and send you on your way to walk off the pain. I'm 2 vaccine shots in on Team Pfizer. Oh, future generations, my balcony has become my sanctuary. Not simply from this plague you see, but from all these human fallacies competing for their place in our history. Positioned 3 stories high, my balcony elevates me above the stress. And still the trees tower over me, their canopy hugging an urban wetland I like to call the pond. A glorified marsh wrapped around a city drain where the waters ebb and flow with the winter melt and spring rains. A refuge for the wildlife trapped inside the city limits, including me. Only weeks ago, exaggerated trumpets and quippish honks marked territorial brawls between Canadians and the mallards, claiming their sides of the pond for the spring hatch. The bird battles from my balcony have less violence than our human tragedy sown into insurgents on Capitol steps, police officers continuing to murder our community members, and let's not forget the logic and gasoline hoarded in cardboard boxes. My species are still tearing up things while the ducks and geese have settled into their designated territory across the way, sharing the muck and algae, teaching babies how to swim. The ducks, geese, and me keep each other company in our designated corners of the universe. They have the pond, and me, this balcony. Dear future G, I write this letter to you from me in hopes that you might telepathically pass backward to me what might be happening next. How do we take these steps into tomorrow where you live? And I believe we humans learn to do better for each other and this earth. Do we? Do we do better, future G? Or is it just a matter of time before we sell off this patch of wetland to build another luxury apartment complex for the capital it will bring? And that's the first one, and a runny nose. Woo! Thank you. I'm really a novice at this, so I appreciate the chance to just be in front of a lot of wonderful people. I like many, many people today. This last poem, it was written in 2018, and the Billy in the poem is referencing Billy Collins, and this is a little bit of a homage to his poem, The Best Cigarette, for anybody who wants to look that one up. It's called Diary of a Non-Smoker. I thought of you when I flicked the last cigarette out the window. Tangerine embers lighting up the slipstream at midnight, homage to you and Billy, living in the rectory of memory, right next to all those love poems and quit poems you would send me. I thought of those mornings I would wake up and you were 3 cigarettes into the day, only to chastise me for my first cigarette, then chuckle at your own impudence. You told me once that projection made life easier. Did you finally quit too? I thought of you again when Billy showed up in epitaphs buried in my closet, memories too afraid to evaporate, collecting dust preserved in cardboard. My love of poetry fared better with time than you or the cigarette. I still miss you, both of you. You were as intoxicating as a thought typed out at the keyboard, stamped with all those silly emotions we humans pivot around in our lifetime. I loved inhaling you. Almost 6 years into non-smoking, grateful for loving the projection of you. I miss you. And still, no life lives better to have quit you. I wonder though, did you finally quit too?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amanda. That was great. Amanda is part of our Lansing scene. So if you can allow people to know where they could find you and connect with you, if you wish to open that, please do share that in the chats. We have somebody super dope. We tried to get her in an earlier event, but shit happens. But we finally got her. Let's give it up for Mimi Blair.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mimi, and in the theme of timeless, I thought personally, nothing is more timeless than trauma. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a poem about some childhood trauma and finish it up with a toxic relationship. You know, who can't relate? So this first poem is called Happy Pills. On the days you didn't get out of bed, I ate cereal and watched cartoons and turned our burgundy sofa into a pirate ship. On the days you didn't sleep, I learned your happy pills and fairy dust were maybe the same thing. On the night you died and came back to life, the doctor who revived you said someone up there must really like you, but I was down here, sitting on the living room floor, 7 blocks from your dealer's house, kneecaps crushed on the hardwood floor, with the telephone dropped in my lap, covering my ears to quiet the screaming voice of the man who said he wouldn't wake up before he hung up. He yelled, "She's not breathing." And I imagined myself whispering hymns and writing prayers and tucking them into the couch cushions that held your lifeless body most days. I am still sleeping on the church steps of your second breath, still bowing to the steeple of your heartbeat spiking the screen of the monitor, still telling my therapist, I don't believe in God, but I believe in my mother. And maybe you thought I'd be better off without you here. But look, happiness doesn't always come in the form of a potion or a pill. You've got to fight for that shit. We all come out of the womb crying like it's too soon to be here, but to be here is worth crying for. On the night I left your body, 3 heart monitors broke and the cord was wrapped around my neck, but I made it. Through the push of your pain, through the clench of screams and sweat, we made it. And I think I came here to tell you, on the days you can't get out of bed, it's going to hurt, but it's probably worth it. Mother, you are not done here yet. Thank you. This next poem is called To the Boy Who Said He Wished I Were Softer. I ignore the bathroom mirror hanging like a nutrition label in front of me. Ask the boy, do you think I'm beautiful? It's been weeks since we've had sex, so I spend the whole afternoon topless, a confident step atop the scale of his libido, but his eyes are unmoving, stuck at 0. He says, yeah, I do, but I wish you were bigger in some areas. And I crawl into bed to cover my small. He says, I just miss your softness. And I Google protein shakes. He says, this is not the body I fell in love with. And I give a thin performance of already being asleep. Before I stopped drinking, there were handfuls more of me. In an attempt to hide the empty, I drank the kitchen cabinets, washed them down with the bar, chugged the shame, and threw up the liquor store. That is the body he is referring to, the incoherent flesh I could no longer live in. And when my bones wrung the alcohol from my skin, it left me thin and learning how to feel everything again without letting it devour me. So I went back to the bathroom mirror to tell myself, I am so sorry. I spent years pouring poison down your throat. You know, they say we starve the ones we love the most. So please know, I worship every shifting inch of you, beauty. You are allowed to change as many times as you need to, and I am still learning how to carry you well. But no matter what shape you are in, your beauty is never fluctuating. And I told the boy, this is the softest I have ever been. Thank you.
Oh, the chats are going on fire. Thank you so much, me. Even on Facebook, shout outs to Kylie over there too. Kylie's dope. Nothing is more timeless than trauma is a mood. The extended metaphor on the last one with the chug, the thin line. I was just like, it's bananas. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love that. I love that. Please share the information that you want to into the chats so people can reach out to you. Anything you want to plug as well. We want to support you. this next poet. I'm sorry, but I have been gushing about this next poet. I think there was a time I was like, yo, like I was just plugging away. I plugged Phil heavy on my socials, but I also plugged this other person too because I played her video over and over again. Like I was just like, you know, like when you first listen to LL Cool J and you just like repeating all the lines in front of the mirror. I did that with her poems. Like, let's just give it up for Rebeca Mae.
Hi. Man, it's been a really, really long time since I've performed, and I'm just so excited to be here. And thanks for inviting me. My co-star Chloe might make an appearance. But I'm gonna read some old poems because I haven't written anything new in a long time. So hopefully they're timeless and you guys enjoy them. Yeah, I would like to also, you know, just bring up normalizing the conversation of addiction and being in recovery. I am a raging alcoholic in recovery right now, and so all my poems involve drinking of some kind. And so it's been really, I don't know, it's been a wild journey. So yeah, just wanted to throw out like normalizing those kinds of conversations and stuff. This poem's called Throat. Okay. I was born blue. My umbilical cord wrapped around throat. It took doctors 3 minutes to get me breathing. I guess you could say throat has been suicidal since before I was alive. Throat understands it's important to breathe air, but does not seem to give a rat's ash. Throat inhales, consumes, devours. Throat says open the floodgate. Throat spikes coffee with coffee and tequila with tequila, says it's never too early or too late for a mug of tequila or a shot of coffee at the start of a long day. You can rest an ear on throat. You will hear the end of every orchestra. It sounds like grieving silence. Throat rhymes with sunk. Throat ends with liquor, ish like a shot, gun to an empty can. After I've consumed the bear, I become the beer. I mean, beer hug. I mean, I still sleep with a teddy bear at night, knowing one day I will become grieving silence here. All my knowledge comes sinking up like a flood. Sometimes I get stuck stiff and tilted. Throat gets stuck like an ocean trying to hang itself with a river. Throat knows all the worst oceans in town, calls all the best river tenders by name. Throat can't stop drinking poems about you, drowns. Throat can't sober at night. Doesn't know if it's lying next to you or lying to you. Throat rhymes with lying, but doesn't know which one. Throat holds grudges like the gospel, the truth that's hard to swallow, when there's nothing left except your insides, a split-second decision that takes a lifetime to explain. There's vomit in every corner of throat, and I keep talking. I am the last voice on earth. I did not forget how to scream. Throat knows there's a difference between right and washed down. Look at all that leaving, grieving, silence. Shh. Isn't that nice? See, throat knows umbilical cord, knows hug yourself, hold tight and run. Don't hold on to anything. Leave everything in the background except a pair of boots so you don't lose your feet. Remember the floodgate. Floodgate says turn back. Remember the light at the end of each shot. Throat understands it's important to breathe air, but sometimes air is all throat holds on to. Thank you. So I've been like debating between reading the breaking poem that you love so much, or I was going to read a poem called Nothing. And I wanted to ask you, since you were so kind to invite me, which one you would prefer.
To be honest with you, I've watched Breaking so many times, like on repeat. Let's go with Nothing. Usually I say like whatever you think is best, but I never heard Nothing, and
okay.
I might have Breaking memorized by the time.
you can perform that for me next time then. Okay, this one is called Nothing. Nothing, noun, no thing. something of no importance or significance. When used in a sentence, your girlfriend will be crumbling to the ground. You'll be crying over rearranged body parts, remembering all the places you kissed, but nothing saved a receipt. Nothing saves the important stuff. Her hands were always my favorite. Nothing's favorite was to shrug each time she washed them, scrubbed them, sanitized them. I guess you could say my girlfriend likes to wash her hands. She thinks nothing is clean after her embrace. Like she leaves little particles of herself everywhere she goes, and that's a bad thing, but I don't mind. She is so careful with what she does touch. Like she doesn't want to damage the good things. I find it endearing. When she holds me, I feel her flinch at my good things. She's always cradling my skin long after her fingers leave me. But when she washes her hands, it's like soap feels better than skin. I find her cleaning nothing from under her nails. She sees nothing in the creases of her palm. Dinner time was a lifetime. A lifetime was when she came home and found out that we ran out of soap. We went to 5 different grocery stores to find the right kind. Nothing told me I like to exaggerate. She told me everything would be clean if these hands weren't so infected. Her hands were always my favorite. When I tell her this, she looks at me like a buyer from the black market, says, take these hands. I thought marriage. She thought, if you won't, I will. Nothing handed her the knife like a cure. Flesh and bone became an impossible jigsaw puzzle on our kitchen counter. The funny thing about cutting your own hands off is that you need 2 in order to get the job done. When she handed me the knife, nothing, just sits at the table, wondering how this all happened. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Disorder where people feel the need to perform certain routines repeatedly. Common activities include hand washing. When used in a sentence, an officer will need an explanation. How my girlfriend became a self-mutilated amputee. How I didn't see this coming. I thought it was nothing. When she washed her hands, I thought it was nothing.
Oh snap. Yeah. Hey, we are a little bit ahead of schedule. Do you want to do breaking?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can do breaking for sure.
You.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. Okay.
The dog is amazing as well.
I know she's my co-star here tonight. I think it's memorized, but I don't want to mess it up. Okay. Breaking. I walk into a light pole, it breaks. I bump into a wall, it breaks. Don't ask me how often I trip over my own self-doubt. I get dressed, my self-esteem breaks. I pay my bar tab and my pride breaks. It's difficult being clumsy in such a fragile world. There was a time when I could talk about my day without hearing a crash in the next room, when I could hear my name and not flinch. But nobody talks about their day anymore because there's nothing to say about a world where everything breaks. Even all the repair workers have quit because everything keeps breaking faster than they can fix it. I tend to fall in love with people who can convince me I won't be their loudest end, and I believe them. I hold her hand, her fingernails shatter. I smile and she smiles, and our cheeks crack. I whisper, I love you, and her ankles crush beneath the weight of a moth. It is impossible to cherish anything when the best case scenario is that it'll only break once. Living is a conversation of how many times you have been broken to still be alive. My life is the constant distraction of fixing things or people, hoping that they won't notice the carnage in my yesterday. I am so clumsy. How lucky I am to be worthy of such severe heartbreak. There's nothing I can do except be more careful with your vintage, I promise. With enough patience for the lingering destruction of this once beautiful world, I can fix anything, even myself.
Woo! I love that. The best scenario line. Oh, that is bananas. And the vintage, I fucking love that. Thank you so much, Rebeca
Thank
Mae.
you.
Please allow people to know how they could reach out to you. You could watch the videos as I do, like all day, every day through this pandemic. Thank you so much, Rebeca Mae.
Thank you.